What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Tyler Smith, filling in for Chase Sr. once again. And today, we are answering your questions that we sent out on a community post earlier this week. And whatever questions you had about the Golden State Warriors, their current situation, their trade rumor situation, whatever's going on with GSW, we're going to talk about it right here on today's video. But first, before we get into your questions, if you want to be like the people who got on today's show, who knew that we put a post out there and knew that we're dropping content, go on ahead and hit the bell icon after you're subscribed to the channel. That way you turn on notifications, and anytime any Warriors news drops, you're going to be the first to know because you'll get a push notification on your phone telling you that we posted a video because you know we're covering every piece of Warriors news that goes out there. So subscribe and hit those bell icons and set your notifications to all so you really never miss a piece of content from us here at Warriors Today. Starting off, first question coming in from Levi Curry. Interesting last name there. Are you related? Do you think Steph will leave if we do not get Brandon Ingram or Lauri? Funny how you said Brandon Ingram first there. Also, do you think that if Lauri doesn't sign with the Jazz, that he would rather want to sign with the Spurs with the spot that the Warriors are in? So that's a little bit of a two-parter. Let's tackle the first one first, right? Steph Curry, his situation. We talked about it earlier this week when he sat down with Mark J. Spears and talked about the future of himself as a Golden State Warrior and the current state of the roster. Said he was optimistic about the whole situation, who they've brought in and whatnot, but he did later mention that he didn't want to be a bottom feeder. He didn't want to end up like the Kobe Bryants, like the Dirk Nowitzkis, later in their careers, playing with rosters that really aren't competitive, aren't putting this great player in a position to contend for a championship, and Steph just really doesn't want to be a part of that. So do I think he's going to leave end-all, be-all if they don't get one of these two players? I don't think so. I think he would probably end up riding out the last couple of years of his career in Golden State. I don't see any situation that really has Steph demanding a trade or wanting out publicly. So I don't think he's going to leave. But on the Lauri Markkanen side of this, do I think he'd rather sign with San Antonio than Golden State? That's preference, honestly, because the way that Victor Wembanyama has progressed, or honestly shown right off the bat in the rookie season of his career, looks like somebody that a lot of guys in this league would want to play with. Would he rather play with Steph, who probably spaces the floor a little better in Golden State? I think I would lean towards that, but listen, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if Lauri Markkanen said, hey, I want to go team up with Wemby and we'll go play for the next 10 years together. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. Next one coming in from Mary Blaylock, saying if they trade their young core for Markkanen, who's to say that it will work out the way they hope? These things happen. He could get injured or have a bad shooting season. Then what? Well, the then what part is you made the deal. You kind of made your bed. You got to lay in it. But if they trade their young core for Markkanen, I mean, these are all hypotheticals, right? Like, you got to look at what you'd be getting in Lauri Markkanen, and who's to say that these numbers that he's been putting up with the Utah Jazz over the last couple of seasons will just fall off. I mean, he's a 40% three-point shooter, and it's not just from the corner or above the break. It's everywhere out there on the floor that Lauri Markkanen is a straight sniper from, and he's a 7-footer. So you're not going to find many players like this. I'd like to compare him to a poorer man's Kristaps Porzingis. Doesn't really provide the rim protection, but he can put it on the deck. He can shoot from anywhere on the floor, and he's an underrated facilitator as well. I know he's not putting up crazy assist numbers, but has a great knack of where he is on the floor, great floor sense, great floor vision, and he can get he can work really well in this Warriors offense, in my opinion. Now, my next question for you guys here: should Golden State keep pushing for a Lauri Markkanen trade? There's some people in the comments, or some people talking on our page day in and day out who are dying for a Lauri Markkanen trade. They said trade Podziemski, trade Kuminga, whoever it takes, get the deal for Lauri done. We want to maximize this roster. Or there's some people saying, like, we need to develop this young talent and usher in the new era of Warriors basketball and not mortgage the entire Warriors future. So let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes if they should keep pushing for a Lauri Markkanen trade, or type N for no if they should keep going with their young core. Next one coming in from Henry Braxton, saying, who are they beating, as in Golden State, I'm assuming? Denver, OKC, Phoenix, Sacramento, Dallas, Minnesota, the Lakers, Clippers maybe? Who's stopping Wemby on the Spurs? Utah better with Lauri. We might beat Portland. Season is over before it starts. Wow. Henry, you're not too keen on the path the Warriors have ahead of them here in the Western Conference. And to be honest with you, I agree. If you just run down these teams, Denver, they're better than you. They got worse this offseason, but they're still better than you. They're 1 year removed from an NBA title. OKC, number 1 seed in the West, and they got a whole lot better. They added Caruso, they added Hartenstein, 2 guys who filled holes on that roster, of which there were not many. And then Phoenix, still have the top-end talent there of Durant, Booker, and Beal, who are stack up with 3 of the top 5 players that you could conjure up, put together between Golden State and Phoenix. Sacramento got better with DeMar DeRozan added to that lineup. Dallas got better. They took Klay from us, and they were just in the finals. And then the Lakers, same kind of deal with Phoenix, still have that top-end talent of LeBron and Anthony Davis, coupled with decent enough complementary pieces on the roster where they could easily finish over Golden State in the standings. So I understand this is a little bit of a hot take saying the season is over before it starts, but there is a lot of competition in the West, and Golden State, in my opinion, needs to make that move for Lauri Markkanen that puts them in the conversation with these teams. Henry, I understand your frustration. It might be a long season for Golden State if they can't get something done. Next up, got one coming in from Cade Jackson. He's on every video because he's one of the most loyal people here at Warriors Today. Cade, love you, brother. Appreciate your input as always. Starting lineup idea when we land Lauri Markkanen. Steph, Hield, Draymond, Lauri, and then he goes on to say TJD is in Trace Jackson Davis entering the starting lineup as well. So if you guys actually looked back at our previous video where I detailed the projected starting lineup here, I didn't have Buddy Hield in there. I had Brandin Podziemski, and I'm not going to lie, Cade, Draymond at the 3 is kind of crazy. The spacing on this floor outside, I mean, I guess Steph, Hield, and Lauri do the job for you, and maybe you could kind of run Lauri as a quasi-3 in this lineup. But I had Steph, Podziemski, Kuminga, Draymond, and TJD. So kind of a little bit of a framework of this if they weren't to trade for Lauri Markkanen, but I understand. And then he actually goes on to say in this question as well, in trade idea, so this is who we'd be giving up for Lauri Markkanen, Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton II, Looney, and draft capital, so you can retain Moses Moody. I'm actually a big fan of that. I like where you're going with this, Cade. And if this was the lineup that we saw come the regular season, I'd be much happier than the way we are now because obviously you picked up Lauri. We're going to get to a couple more of your questions in just a moment, but I want to get you guys hooked up with one of the best deals I've seen on the internet, and that is supporting our boy Steph in the Olympics. He's trying to lead Team USA to gold, and you can get his Team USA jersey, not the jersey, a little bit more on the cost-effective side here, getting the jersey, than it would be getting the real deal jersey. But if you want to support Steph, support our golden boy here in Golden State as he goes for gold in Paris. Chatsports.com/CurryUSA to get you guys hooked up with this sick deal. They got the white one as well. So go on, get yourselves hooked up. It could be the only chance you ever get to get Steph Curry Olympic merch because he might not play in one again with the age that he's at right now, and he hasn't played in one before. So this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to get some Steph Curry Olympic merch. One more time, chatsports.com/CurryUSA. It'll be in the comments and description of today's video to make it easy for you guys. Go get yourself some new gear. Next one coming in from Be Nice Draymond. Got a little bit of a Draymond background there with a bunch of rainbows. So I guess he's saying, cool it, Draymond. Are there any other free agents out there that the Warriors could sign? With the Warriors' current situation, they do still have a player, an option open on the roster for a spot to be taken up. And there are some free agents still out there on the market. These are the guys that I could kind of best come up with as potential fits for this Warriors roster. You got Victor Oladipo in there. Obviously, we know he's been riddled with injury throughout the prime of his career. Unfortunate there for Oladipo, but hey, who knows? If he's healthy, I would like him on the squad. He's a good defender, can handle the ball, can put the ball in the basket, obviously, and great in transition. You'd obviously want him to be a better athlete than he used to be, but, you kind of take what you get at this point in his career. Gordon Hayward, just a great facilitator, guy who can catch the ball in the corner, shoot it, put it down, put the ball on the deck, and get a bucket that way as well. Just an all-around really good multi-tool player. Not going to give you a ton of the defensive end, but like I said with Oladipo, Hayward's obviously faced a fair amount of injuries as well and really was a non-factor when he got moved to OKC last season. But in Charlotte, he had some pretty good numbers put up there, and hope maybe he could do something on a veteran minimum deal and crack this rotation later down the line this season. And Davis Bertans, if they don't make a Lauri Markkanen trade, this is about the poorest version of a Lauri Markkanen that you could possibly find out there on the free agent market. Definitely a guy who could fill a Warriors need there at the power forward spot because that spot's kind of thin outside of Draymond Green on the roster right now. So maybe Davis Bertans could be a much-needed stretch big in this Warriors lineup. And then Isaiah Livers, just a younger two-way player who can knock down shots, defend at a really high level, give you a little bit more energy maybe on both ends than the rest of these guys. But honestly, it's slim pickings for the Warriors as far as free agents goes. It's really going to be just veteran minimum guys out there. The Warriors don't have really a ton of money to kind of move around in order to make these signings. But hey, if they send out more money in a Lauri Markkanen trade than they bring back in, which is likely, maybe some more cap space is opened up for Golden State. But maybe it's one of those guys. Maybe it's somebody else. Who's your guy? Name a free agent the Warriors should sign. Let me know down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Drop a name out there. Is there anybody who could make this Warriors roster just a little bit better than it is right now? Let me know down in the comments. And lastly, this one's coming in from Chef's Cookin'. Chef-A-Nation 30. All right. I feel like they're letting his career go by the wayside. What does Golden State have to do to get Steph his 5th ring? Listen, I honestly, guys, if you made it this far in the video, that means you're a real one. I don't know what guarantees or puts Steph in a position to be contending for a championship in the next 2 seasons. Obviously, I've been pestering that Lauri Markkanen would make this team better. It would put him in a better position to try to contend in the Western Conference. But is he going to win you an NBA championship at Golden State? Is he going to be the second best player on a championship-winning Golden State Warriors basketball team? I don't know. With the talent that's there in the Western Conference right now, and then obviously once you get there, you're facing a Boston Celtics team that was not the same team that you played and beat in 22. So there is so much talent that's in this NBA right now. I really don't know what move is going to be made. I mean, potentially after a Lauri Markkanen trade that could help put this Warriors roster into championship contention. But just making that move alone at least signals to Steph that you're caring about him contending. You want to put a good roster on the table for him. And I think a couple of Lauri Markkanen with the free agency moves they made this year, they can make that happen for Steph. But as of right now, I don't think there's any one singular move that you can make outside of a Lauri Markkanen trade that makes this roster any closer to championship contending form. And that'll be it for today's Warriors Today edition. Subscribe to the channel. Any latest Warriors news and updates you're going to find right here at Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. YouTube.com/Warriors TV. We're bringing you these mailbags. We'd like to get you guys involved in the channel. Glad you guys could stick here and watch with us. And we'll see you next time right here on Warriors Today. Go Dubs.